Nothing happens until you find your purpose, until you discover your purpose.
Or your purpose discovers you.
Like Mark Twain says, the two most important points in your life, when you were born and when you find out the reason why. But nothing happens until you discovers your purpose. Now, Travel Tuesday, yeah,
Yeah.
ready. I'm ready to go somewhere. In fact, we are. I'm ready.
I am ready to go to the North Pole. Hey, anything's better than 90 degrees and 90% humidity.
Well, you got a point there. Definitely. But so good to be here, Travel Tuesdays. You mentioned Ron and Linda are vacationing. How about that? They're vacationing. This is travel,
It is.
and I know they're going to a really good place. I forget where
The
that
Thousand
was.
Islands?
Thousand Islands. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so they're going to have a great time. You know, Mary, it's always good to see you on the show and to do the show. Something about travel makes you feel so it touches that sweet spot to make you feel so good and and gives you all that peace, in a world that is just moving, 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 things happening all the time. And it's nothing like being able to escape into I would say to the real world.
To experienced travelers, that's how it operates. But for people like me or others, the planning, the organization to get to that trip is like anxiety overload, mental breakdown, just stressed out, trying to make sure all pieces and puzzles are all put together.
True, it's true. And I know when people don't get away, that something inside of them builds up, the stress, the tension, and if they don't get away, it explodes. I mean, it releases in some form, shape, or fashion, and
Mhm.
sometimes in a good way, sometimes not. you know,
I was thinking about this. My son just loves the old shows. Anything from the 50s, anything black and white, just switching to color. And as a family, you're always going on trips for the summer. You're always going on, you know, camping or just going away for a day or so. You don't see that anymore.
Why is that?
We don't make it a priority. And two, a lot of it is people think they can't afford it.
Yeah, that's true.
But there's so many free things out there or for reduced that we just need to make the time for. There's so much stuff
It's
going on in
true.
your backyard.
It really is. We love staycations. A lot of people aren't familiar with we love taking staycations. And the thing about it is that even though you're in a hotel and eating at a restaurant that's right down the street from you, it just makes you feel good. You know,
Yeah.
you could
You
be
don't have
anywhere
dishes to do.
USA. And huh?
You don't have dishes to wash.
That's what Brenda would say. Brenda would say, "Yeah, I don't have to." That's why she loves cruising. Trying to find something here, but that's why she loves to cruise, because and she hates when she comes back because it brings her back to the real world.
Well, that was the genius idea that cruises came up with, was you can now basically for the cost of rent, utilities, you can live on a cruise ship. I met a couple, they've
True.
done that for the last 4 years now. They hop different cruise ships.
Yeah, man,
They sold their house
you
and
could
that's
instead.
where the money went.
Oh yeah, that is cool. That is cool right there. When you can basically, especially as you get older, and you don't want to go to a retirement community, a rest home. Imagine living on a cruise ship and going from port to port to port to port. Now, you may get tired of it after a year, maybe a couple of years, but I don't know. I think that's more exciting than staying in the rest home.
Well, and like one of the ladies
And
I was talking to, she's only in her 40s doing this. Her kids graduated, she's done. And she can work from the cruise ship. She goes, it's internet. So I literally work from you know.
She does that, huh?
Yeah, she lives there and she works and, runs her own business on the side. It was, you never know where I'm at today, but it doesn't matter.
Well, that's one of the things that I love about, we talk about Surge 365 is that it's a real business. And Ron and Linda, being at was it Thousand Islands on vacation, that's a business trip. They have potential write-offs as independent contractors in the travel industry. They're going to meet people there that perhaps are looking for a business. And so they'll be able to share the opportunity. And some things, definitely AI impacts travel,
Yeah.
especially travel booking. But AI cannot duplicate, imitate the feeling that you have when you actually go. You know, it can't touch that at all. And that's the beauty of what this is because it can't touch that special place in our heart. And I know everyone has felt it being on a beach, feeling well, maybe not in Minnesota, like you said, the humidity and the 90%. No, but being on a beach somewhere nice and just being free and feeling that feeling of freedom, and seeing the waves, listening to the waves, and seeing the kids play and seeing the families and being able to order food on the beach and whatever drinks on the beach. The
Escape the
person
heat.
comes out
You got the water.
and it got the water and when you I know Brenda and I when we was in Cancun with some good friends there that are also in the travel business. Her husband and I, whenever we go and we travel a lot together, and we've been to Jamaica, we've been to Punta Cana, and just recently here in Cancun. And her husband doesn't make a lot of friends, but I'm his friend. And every time we travel together, you know, we'll actually wake up, get up to see the sunset, to see the sunrise. And we're out there, and he loves finding creatures, all kind of different, creatures around the water, the rocks, little crabs, and different kinds of fish. And I'm right there with him. One of the things I wanted to be growing up was a marine biologist.
Well, it takes you back to your childhood. We were all, a lot of us
It took me
got
back.
got the benefit, going to the lake, going to the river and catching crawfish. I remember the first time,
Yeah,
my kids found a crawfish out in the river. My God, did they freak out? It was entertaining for me.
yeah,
Yeah,
and so we'll go and we'll get up, before sunrise, catch the sunrise, and then, take pictures. He loves taking pictures like I take pictures. And we're taking pictures and then he's always looking to see and finding some strange creature. He's, "Hey, Rick, look." I'm like, "Okay."
well, and
Something I would never actually see.
that's the cool part, though. They've found so many creatures that we thought were extinct due to travel. People just going out taking the pictures. They're validating things that we thought that weren't around anymore.
It's true. That's true. That's true. And he'd say, "Hey, you see that?" He saw one of those puff fishes one time. I'm like, "Wow, okay, yeah." I mean, he just finds that's just his knack. He just finds things, different little creatures
That nature
and points them out.
gravitates towards him.
It really does. It's like my brother-in-law down here in Charleston, and he always sees alligators where Brenda and we never see alligators. And so he's like, "Hey, yeah, remember if you guys go down to this corner, there's two alligators that are always coming out there and they're sunbathing." Every time we go by that particular location, like, what are they talking about? What are they talking about? So finally, he takes a picture.
I'm not crazy, I promise they're real.
He takes a picture and the alligators are there. And, he just started a new job at the hospital here, but before that, he had a job where, he would go down to the lake and fill up these water tanks, and they would take the water tanks and to water different landscape projects. And every time he'd go down to the lake, he would see there's a couple of alligators there. And these are different alligators than the one I'm just talking about
Mhm.
before. And so he takes a picture of this alligator just like you see, in Australia or something or Africa, and the alligator raises up and you see his eyes from the water. And I'm like, "What?" And so, like you're saying, there's certain people that have that.
That
Where
is
he sees alligators. He went to his cousin's house, and she lives, there's water around it, but we've always gone to his cousin's house and never saw anything. And so he takes a picture of a couple alligators in front of her house, like when you walk through, in her driveway. I'm like, "What?" And they're just like walking. And I'm like, "What?" And so gotta believe him. At first we're like, "What?" Every time, "Oh yeah, yeah, you go down there, you'll see." Yeah, right. Yeah, right. We've been by that, but he validated.
he's just got the
He
timing.
he's got the timing. There's certain people that have that. What would you say you have the timing for?
Being in the right place at the right time for whatever I need.
Yeah, me too.
It just depends on what's going on. It's like, finding that car for next to nothing, just happened to go to the gas station.
Do you find it or does it find you?
I notice it. It isn't so much I find it, because I'm not going out looking for it like when I was going to the gas station. I notice it, which is like the best part of the military is you learn that situational awareness that everyone always talks so badly about. It's a bad thing to have this. I enjoy it. I notice things people don't notice. From a bird or an eagle or something in the sky that someone else would take for granted to, something for sale that's really cheap that I can afford that's in good shape.
Yeah, being a veteran, and we talk about this, how super aware we are. And if there's any vets that are listening in to the show, you're not crazy. It's just training.
But it's who you are.
You know,
Like we've talked about, what would you do if you turned it off? I just truly believe that I would have more anxiety issues because it'd be like a part of me's missing.
you can't turn it off. And when you go into a crowd, you're always super aware. You're always anticipating, predicting. Thank goodness a lot of the things that you think don't come true. You're always looking for the best shot. If I see if I see a car like way down there, I'm like, okay, what that's crazy though. Thank goodness you don't follow through with the things that you think about, but being a veteran brings you to a whole nother space. You're always wondering, you're always predicting, you're always thinking.
We're
When you
always
walk into a
figuring out
crowd,
new ways to solve a problem, and we get so irritated with civilians when they have to committee it and discuss it and analyze it. It's like, just change the stupid screw.
we jump to the conclusion from the beginning.
Yes, which is
We
why
jump to we
a
cut
lot
out
of
all
us
the stuff.
love travel and we love trips to nature out in the woods or, I can't wait till my kids get bigger so I can take them whitewater rafting.
I'll tell you, yeah, I went whitewater rafting once. Like, most important thing, don't fall out of the raft. Now, of course, you got kids with you, you're not going to the major, you know, life-threatening, but I went whitewater rafting, and, and I don't know what was in me, but, I mean, really kind of rough rapids, and so they have this thing where, they allow you just to, jump into the water and the party's gonna continues on. It goes to this opening where, you jump in the water upstream, and they're there, and you kind of float by. And so they say, "Hey, anybody want to jump in the water?" And they're gonna continue the hike, to this opening, but we're gonna hang back, and if you want, we're gonna jump in the water, and uh, and then we'll float right by them. When you get to them, you can just swim over, and just as take for the experience. Now, when you jump in the water, make sure you keep your feet up. You don't want to get it caught on anything, and so you
Mhm.
got your life vest on. Keep your feet up and and just float. And then when you come to the opening, which is about maybe not too far down, maybe a football field down, and then you're gonna see them over to the right, and then just swim on over. I'm like, yeah, yeah, that sounds like fun. I'll do it. I'm a pretty good swimmer, but you're just floating. And so we let them, give them about 5 minutes or so to hike on, 10 minutes to hike on, and they said, okay, let's jump in. And so one by one, and he has this little like ledge thing where you can actually jump into the river. And it's not a wide, wide river, but it's a river. It's not like you'd be floating all the way on the other side. You got to swim miles to get back over. It's just, it starts as a stream and it opens and widens. And so, I get my turn. And at first I'm thinking, why are you doing this? Is there a reason that you really had to do this? And so, of course, I'm answering, yeah, 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 for the experience. And so I get my turn. I jump in and, I go underwater. You jump in, and I'm looking up and I'm seeing water and I'm seeing, the light of the sky. And I bubble up to the top. And, and so then I put my feet up, like he said. I kind of cross my arms and I'm just kind of floating. Yeah, I'm riding. It's pretty cool, you know. And I'm like, hey, this is cool. I'm not under any stress. And so I'm floating, floating, and just taking in the scenery. You got the woods, and you got little branches hanging over, kind of like that experience. Your little branches hanging over. About 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, I see the opening coming, and I'm like, "Hey, okay, here we go." Mary, the opening comes, and I'm seeing them all sitting on the beach watching us come by. I try to swim over, and the rapids are too rapid.
Grab the rope.
I'm watching, I'm I'm swimming, and I'm still going straight. And I'm watching them go by me, or me go by them. And I'm like, okay, this is not good. I can't swim over. I passed them. Thank goodness we had, an experienced person there because, they have the little rope with the little knot on it. And this guy, whoo, whoo, whoo. I didn't know they had the rope with the knot on it. But this thing, it hits me on the shoulder and I grab the rope. I didn't even know it was coming. It hits me right on the shoulder and I grab the rope and they all pull me back. I'm laying on the beach like a beached whale because I'm so tired of trying to swim over. And that thing pulled me back. But he hit me right on the shoulder and I grabbed the knot. I didn't even know it was coming. And they pulled me back. I'm laying out there like a beached whale. And would I do it again? Yeah. I do. Because from there, of course, we got in the raft and we had the rafting experience. This was just me. I don't know if I would jump in the water and get that experience again, but I'd go rafting again. And these are pretty aggressive rapids. And but not like these guys and what they go through. That's two. But, you know, I've been in the travel business now since 2004. And I've said on the show before, full time since 2005. Now, of course, you're giving folks flashbacks. You're giving veterans. Hey, but if you are a veteran And even if you're not, and you're looking for something to do, man,
One of the fastest growing travel industry or in the travel industry is military camps. People want to experience what SEAL training's like. You can actually do that as a civilian. It's a one way for you as a soldier to be able to take your experience, your training, your torture, and put it on somebody else and get paid to do it.
your torture, put it on somebody else's extreme SEAL experience. Oh, yeah, yeah. I've got a guy who was a senior enlisted in the army, and retired. And he has a group of guys people that, they're mostly guys that they go on different trips throughout the year, and anywhere from 10 to 20 of 'em. And they have a good time, and they'll get an Airbnb or get a villa, and just have a really, really, really good time. And they set up maybe 3 trips a year. But I was talking to him last week, and he told me about this lady that he knows that invited him and maybe 5 to 10 other senior enlisted out to Punta Cana, and she opened up a home in Punta Cana for veterans, to be able to come out. But that's them when they were in.
And, like part of their stuff all goes to boys and girls with cancer and other illnesses.
That's awesome. Would you do it?
Do SEAL training? A vacation like that?
Experience?
No, it involves water.
Huh?
It involves water. No, I don't swim.
I wouldn't do it anyway. I wouldn't imagine anybody in the military doing it.
Well, we got
It's
a
like,
few guys that enjoy stuff like this.
but I can't imagine anybody who has served and was in the military going through this as an experience.
No, but that's what's for civilians that want to.
No, I know
Oh
civilians,
God, no, we're
but
not
I'm just
dumb.
saying anybody, you know, because you wanted to smack the folks that did this to you,
Yeah.
but you couldn't because you was in the military and you knew what would happen.
Yeah.
Now, they would have to really, really, civilians, yes. Military, no, because you would rise up and say, no, I'm not taking this. And, but yeah, so this lady opens up a home from a house for veterans, to that are going through different things to be able to come to Punta Cana, stay in this home with other veterans, and have fun and vacation. And so I was telling one of the guys there that who shared this experience with me that being in the travel business allows him to do that if he wanted, because he could open up a home in Punta Cana and tap into many of these veteran organizations that are looking to travel, looking to get away, and using the travel business, bring them out for wholesale instead of retail, set up these different, excursions, adventures, not a SEAL experience, but, you know, a
Oh, but
legitimate fun vacation kind of
to me,
experience.
rock climbing, cliff jumping, zip lining,
Yeah,
that's
repelling,
fun.
repelling.
Yes,
Even going out and even, ATVing in the jungle.
yes.
That's fun stuff, riding horseback
The
on the
things
beach.
we did at boot camp that scared the crap out of us then. You know, I I was talking to Andy about it. One of the things I would love to do someday, and it would be more designed for like, kids that need that sensory just jump around, experience boot camp in a way that gives them all the sensory activities. So like the towers that we used to climb that, back then scared the crap out of us. Rebuilding something like that. I remember
Yeah,
one of the towers is like a bunch of just sticks and platforms and sticks, and you wind blew, they blew. And our drill sergeant was up on the top, and they had a dummy fully dressed like a soldier came flying over the edge.
Hey, that's real world. You got clumsy people out there.
Yeah, see, that was
You know,
the thing, it scared us.
hey, I grew up on Fort Bragg.
Yeah.
I was a military kid. I grew up on Fort Bragg. I went to elementary school, Fort Bragg, or grade school, Fort Bragg, before we went to Germany. And and so I've got my airborne wings from a platform. For the kids, they have where you can jump off a platform, like you're jumping out of a plane. And so I've got my airborne. Well, not anymore, but I put my time in. That's why I came into the Air Force, because I'm an Army brat. You know, you talk about me, being Chair Force. Of course, you're part of the Chair Force now, and of course, I would never say we're Chair Force because we are an important part of joint operations, being Air Force. But I know Army. I know Army. My brother, he went to the Marines, and he was in the Marines. Was over in Mogadishu, and got out of the Marines. I think he was like 11 years in the Marines. Got out of the Marines and joined the Navy. And Marines joining the Navy absolutely worships them. Marines that join the Navy are worshipped.
Mhm.
And so he was worshipped and retired from the Navy. I forget what rank he was, but senior officer, senior enlisted, retired from the Navy. And so I go into the Air Force. So when he went into the Marines, he called me up one time. He says, "Hey, Rick, now I understand what you was trying to tell me. I didn't want to do what you did. Didn't want to do what Dad did. Wanted to be my own man. That's why I came to the Marines, Camp Lejeune." And he said, "But now I understand." Is it possible to learn lessons? Why don't you put this up instead of the Travel Tuesday? Is it possible to learn lessons instead of having this on the side so I got to look over so I can look straight? To learn lessons without having to go through them.
I don't think so. I really, truly don't believe it's possible to learn. I mean, you not to the extent, because
You think you have to go through the lesson to learn the lesson,
you do. Because if
or can you learn from people?
you can learn from people depending on what the lesson is, but then you're learning from a place of fear instead of knowledge. I believe kids should be kids, and I say this because you learn most of your life lessons as a child and doing dumb things. Talking about our childhood and all the things we survived that our generation of kids now will never learn.
Like, I learned lessons from my dad as a special forces Green Beret, special forces. Would I say that that was a lesson that I learned? It really wasn't a lesson I learned per se, because I didn't have the knowledge. But what drove me to go into the Air Force, that really was I can't even say that. It just, circumstances worked out that way. They had Air Force ROTC at the college I went. So I can't say that, I'm like, anything but be a Green Beret, anti-army. I can't say that because I loved actually the army.
You know,
But the circumstances were Air Force ROTC.
and I didn't have an option. I was 17 when I enlisted, so my grandma signed the papers and you're doing this and this and this, and you're only going here, here, and here for boot camp. And the benefit of being a girl is that there's only a limited amount of places at the time that you could go. But it was so funny to see this 5-foot old lady. Well, she basically was the white version of Aunt Jemima. Hair up in a bun, the dress and the apron, all of it. 5 foot. Telling this big 6 foot, 300-pound recruiter, she is not doing this, this, and this. She's only going here, here, and here. And all he could do is, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And she was your spokesperson.
Yep.
Hey, guess what?
Awesome.
Of course, it's reversed. You can't really see it, but
No, it's not reversed. You're not mirrored.
it's not reversed?
No, you're not mirrored.
Okay. got that, and then the workbook.
Ooh, put it in the chat so I can buy it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm finalizing them now, and, it has turned into not just selling the books, but implementing a new process of leadership, a new process of leadership. Calling-based leadership is more than a leadership philosophy. It's a transformational framework for discovering your purpose, aligning your life, and activating your leadership in every area of influence. Developed through decades of real-world experiences across military leadership, global business, and marketplace ministry, Rick Reese introduces a proven system that equips leaders to move from uncertainty to clarity and from intention to impact. And and it's interesting, how it was formed and created and the whole concept. And so, as you know, it's been registered, copyrighted. The trademark just came in, also, copyrighted. And so it's more than actually just selling a book, but it's implementing a procedure, a leadership procedure that complements what we have out there, but takes it to another level because it talks about leadership being a responsibility that we accept based on in alignment with our purpose and our calling, not just an ambition, but a saying yes to responsibility. And a lot of military people can relate to that
I think
because
it's a step higher than just a calling. I think, like, with what you do in the military or the workplace ministry, that's more of a lifestyle because it's the way that it's written, the way it's built in, and you start following it, it is literally how you change your life and how you look at things at a different level.
it is, and but it is a calling
Yeah.
because it's accepted in alignment with your purpose. So a lot of times we find ourselves in situations, and you do this a lot. You're always counseling people. That's your job, of course, counseling people. The most effective sessions are the ones that you take where you don't know what the outcome's going to be, and you're like, okay, and you get a call. I need this. I'm going through this. I'm going through that. And you're like, okay, what is this? Do I even want to talk to them? And then once you talk to them and accept that the responsibility to talk to them, you find that you can actually speak to them from a place of alignment versus just talking to them.
Mhm.
But you actually are aligning with your purpose in life and the things that you have been trained and have gone through and have experienced, that now you can talk to them to provide clarity to them, to get them off center, to get them moving forward in life. And based on what you've experienced, not just making it up, but I went through this.
Been there, done that,
And
and
so
a lot of
leadership,
times that happens at the
lead,
grocery
so
store.
leadership is accepting a responsibility that's in alignment with your purpose. And so those are the most effective sessions that you have when you actually are aligning your purpose with the message and the solution that you're giving to someone. And that's calling based leadership. So now this is going to be taught at the university level, military, ministry, and it's basically taking a process that we all already know and and putting it where A, B, C. This is what you're doing. And now it's a repeatable process that can be applied. There's nothing worse than, and you know this, where an officer comes in and automatically expects the respect without earning the respect,
Yep.
from senior enlisted, from the people that are following the senior enlisted. And they're looking at a title to make things happen versus, you know, coming in and getting a feel for what's going on. And as as a calling, as a purpose, driven leader. And now people can actually see the real person. They can understand the real person. And now they'll give respect to the real person, not just because of a title that somebody has. You know, you can't get respect from a title. That's not long lived. And you've seen it, and I've seen it, where someone has a title and they're coming in saying, "Hey, we're do that, do this, and I'm that." It's like calling based leadership is coming in, understanding how alignment with purpose, you know, impacts your ability to lead people and looking for that alignment, which people will respect versus coming in, not having that alignment and expecting people to respect your title. And you're like, no.
It's similar to kids in college, they graduate, they assume because they have this degree that they can get these Fortune 500 top business deals or business, you know, positions instead of working the way up through the intern route.
And so one of the things that's really interesting, as I'm launching this as the founder of Calling Based Leadership Institute, and I was talking to some of the folks yesterday, is the imposter syndrome
Mhm.
that many leaders, many creators, many content creators, many people in your position, many folks who are looking to move into doing whatever gift they have, and they're looking to little one behind you, fading in and out. And but looking to move it and wondering, is it me? Can I do this? Why me? You know, am I good enough? You know, is there someone that can do this better? And they go through and grow through that imposter syndrome. And a lot of times what they forget, 'cause I had to do that. I mean, I woke up the other day before I made the commitment to do this. It's like, I really wanna, I'm in the travel business. Hey, I got a great lifestyle.
Mhm. Supposed to
And
be
it's not
retiring.
supposed to be retiree but it's not gonna change anything. You know what I mean? And it's your inner conversation creates your outer reality. It's not gonna change anything. But I had to come to that realization that, you know, and overcoming the imposter syndrome. How would you describe the imposter syndrome?
I the biggest thing is like the saying, "Fake it till you make it." And to me, that's the worst saying when it comes to that, because it fuels on that imposter syndrome, because you're pretending to be something you're not. I struggled with it when I first started because I know.
Now I gotta tell you, having been doing this a long time and being in network marketing, there's a degree to your inner conversation
Correct.
creating your outer reality. And so when you hear, in the old network marketing term, fake it till you make it, there is a reality to that.
Within
And
reason.
yeah, I did that. And you actually do you actually there's a trigger inside where you actually have to believe. So that is actually a tool to overcome imposter syndrome, on a positive way.
It
Because
is, as long as
when
you're following what you created, what you're doing, and you're not sitting there with, because I see so many people with with the fake it till you make it right now, and they're creating all this content, all these videos, all this stuff that is so over the top that it's not
but
helping them.
that's different than a fake it till you make it. Because I actually had to do that in being in network marketing forever. Because what it is, it's a form of affirmation. It's a form of creating a reality. And and once you understand the power that you have to create, you're creating a world, but now you gotta make sure that it's the right world that you wanna live in and that it's in line with what you believe. But there is a truth to fake it till you make it, because it's a form of affirmation. because your mind will not believe, and your mind can believe anything that you put in front of it as truth.
Mhm.
And so if you put poverty in front of it as truth, it'll go down that path. If you put, if you put a lifestyle in front of you that you can believe that right now is not exist, but you can actually believe it, your mind will make whatever adjustments to make it true. And so if I'm balancing, fake it till you make it or speak the truth of where you are, you stay where you are.
Correct. That's where
Your mind
you're
will.
you're looking at where you came from to where you wanna go, and you're remembering you overcame this, this, and this, and so you've got this. You can do this because 'cause you've done this.
That's exactly right. And that's how you overcome imposter syndrome. You overcome imposter syndrome once you realize that you're fulfilling your calling. You're not trying to fake it till you make it, per se. You're fulfilling something that is bigger, and see, and that's the importance of calling-based leadership is to bring that distinction, like you're saying, to the world, that it's all based on your calling, not a fake it till you make it that's not in line with your purpose and calling.
Gotta be in line with who you are.
It's got to be in line with who you are. Otherwise, it really is you're faking something that you don't even believe. That's not even you.
You
And
know
see, that's a distinction that people don't get.
no, and I struggle with that, with the gravity of what I do, teaching families to understand something and looking at, like, autism as a label that's a diagnosis tool only, and that the meltdowns, the aggression, the speaking, all these things can be overcame. And with the gravity of like changing the way the world's looking at things is a possibility. Here, quietly go through my fridge. Make the outer voices be inner voices. Thank you. She's singing as she's looking in
Hey,
the fridge.
Ariana.
Ariana, Rick says hi.
Hey, thanks for the birthday song. Hey!
You little smart aleck.
And, that's one of the things that I'm going to, that I know and that is that looking at a person identifying of their purpose in life, whether neurodiversity, whether PTSD, whatever it may be, but being able to align with the purpose that they have in life taps into something that's deeper than life itself and the experiences going on around them to put things actually into perspective. And uh, and and so in bringing this book and this process, not even the book, but the procedures of calling based leadership as a complement to our current leadership programs that actually take it to another level. So this is like a generational shift
Hmm.
in leadership thinking philosophy
I got to
that
introduce
that
you to a friend of mine. He used to be a teacher and a doctor over at geneticist at John Hopkins University, and he helped create the AI back in like the 60s, the first AI for medical coding and stuff like that for your DNA and things
you
like
have
that.
mentioned them to me.
And
What's his name again?
Frederick Abersom, and he's working on bringing back his non for profit for domestic abuse victims and helping to use DNA testing to match your markers to big names or historical figures like Beethoven to help boost women and men that are in those situations to understand how you can pull yourself back up, overcome those situations, and not stay stuck in that, as you're in shelters and stuff like that, how you can use that as a self esteem booster and help you find your
You know,
purpose and design in life.
that's powerful. Yeah. Nothing. And this is absolute truth. Nothing happens until you find your purpose, until you discover your purpose.
Or your purpose discovers you.
Like Mark Twain says, you know, the two most important points in your life, when you were born and when you find out the reason why. But nothing happens until you discovers your purpose. Now, your purpose is trying to make sure it discovers you because it's always there. Once a person understands their purpose in life, their gifting, what have you been gifted in? What is your gift? And people recognize you through your gift. They don't even see the person; they see the gift. And so people don't make money because they're not operating in their gift. So, but anyhow, it, so
But your purpose can adjust, modify, tweak a little bit as things happen, as you grow, as you adjust and move on to different things.
imposter syndrome. I had a bout with it Sunday in bringing this calling based leadership to the world as a leadership philosophy.
Mhm.
As something that people need to know, knowing that leadership is a responsibility accepted in alignment with your purpose. And the closer you can do that, the better leader that you are. And so I'm like, but it really wasn't imposter syndrome as much as
Here.
lifestyle change.
But is it really a lifestyle change?
But that's where I had to come to the place that it's not. I had to come to the place that is not. And that was in my own thinking that it's not anything different than I already do. And it's amazing because AI is almost like a friend that you can talk to
Yes.
as a personality. I don't know if you ever experienced that yet. That as a personality, it knows you based on things you've been asking, things you've been doing, and things it's assisting you with. It actually becomes an assistant to you.
It has been. I had to reprogram mine the other day because when I started programming it a few years ago, it was designed to make sure it slowed me down so that I put priorities in place and not just run through everything. Well, now that all the pieces are in place, it started procrastinating based off the programming. I'm like, no, 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 we're going back. We're going military mode here.
And so it's amazing how it adjusts to every single person. Because, yesterday, I'm like, okay, my my copyright was approved, so the books are registered. The trademark is approved. And so it's like, Rick, you have reached a great milestone. You're not just selling books, you're implementing a system, a new leadership system that complements what's currently out there, but at the level of Tony Robbins,
Hmm.
Maxwell, certifications. Now that you have everything in place, registration, now you can do facilitators, people can get their certifications as a process, as a system. And I'm like, okay. It says now you need to transition from the years of being formed and ready to now execute. And then that's where that came in, with the imposter syndrome, which I overcame as fast as it came, but in the execution. Because like, and people that are listening, when you get ready to do anything, there's a voice in your mind that's going to tell you you can't. Why you? What do you think? What do you think you know? You know, and looking at, what if somebody says that's not true? You can't do that. That's not how it works. This is how it works. You know, and uh, and and if you're not careful, you will not believe that you actually have information to transform people's lives. Like the things that you're doing, Mary, you have information that is going to that transforms people's lives. And so I want to send you, I actually started a course in teaching people how to overcome imposter syndrome.
Awesome. You ever
I'm
need a
going to
guinea
send you
pig
the,
for any of your courses? I'll go through them.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm serious.
Yeah.
Most people yeah, because of what they've been taught all their lives. Who are you? What can you do? You don't know nothing. You need to sit down and shut up and blah 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 blah.
You grew up
And
on the
if
wrong
people
side of the
aren't,
tracks. You don't have the right
you are on
credentials.
the wrong side of the tracks. There's no way you can cross the tracks. Do you have permission to be over here? All those things. And Brenda put it clearly the other day that imposter syndrome is a mechanism the enemy uses to keep people from the place where they will prosper,
Mhm.
you know, and they don't cross a line. They only go so far, and then it kicks in to say, you can't cross this line, and it keeps people from the prosperity that is right there. And they won't. They've been trained, they've been taught, you know, like the fleas they say in the little jar, put the lid on, the fleas hit the top, hit the top, hit the top, take the lid off, they're still going as far as the top would be, and they're trained. Like I'm talking now, and we do podcasts, but you know what though? We have been trained in doing these podcasts and doing these shows. That is training
Mhm.
for when we launch into whatever it is we're going to be doing. And people don't even want to do this.
Well, and then people ask, "Why don't we do recorded shows and then, edit them and do all this?" I go, "Why? The talks we do, the things
Why?
we do are live. You can't unput your foot in your mouth if you say the wrong thing.
You
There's
can't
no
put your foot
script for
and we've been
things."
trained to talk.
Yeah.
We've been trained. And
I
so
say
and
God gave
so
you the
me
gift of speech, and I'm using it in the purpose that's most constructive for
That's right.
human
That's
nature.
right. Now in the good way, right? Good, good, hey, hi, hi, ha,
Hey,
good,
I
ha.
used to make people cry for a living, and now my children laugh at me.
Welcome to the chair force. No. But, but to launch into the deep is where we're going. And so AI is like, you know, you prepared all this time. You're ready. Now it's execution
And AI
from
is
your
great for
preparation.
that to help you do it. How do you need to do it? What steps do you
And
gotta
we don't
take?
have to do anything. So I'm doing my website and I'm getting the information, well, do the website for this page. What is the what are the tabs? What's the information compared to the top websites out there that goes on the tabs? And it's taking my website development of capabilities to a whole nother level because now look at these websites, Rick, of the top folks, and you see a lot of large letters and white space,
Mhm.
not tiny little print from the 80s, right? Nobody reads anymore. So, and so my website looks totally different based on calling-based leadership and what I'm doing. And Brenda and I was talking about this the other day. People do not use these tools. They don't see AI as a tool to be used. They see it as something to be feared. You and I are using it as a tool to do the things that we need to get done. You don't need an illustrated artist anymore, an illustrator anymore. You can just ask what you want and get, and make sure it's not looking like everybody else's, AI thing. But you don't need an illustrator. Brenda's book, beautiful book, you know,
Ariana's book
where
the
I'm
other day, like Santa Claus read it. All those images were created through AI, uploading Len Kane's photo and Ariana and David's photos.
that's huge. That's a big deal,
It saves
you
so much
know.
time than cutting and pasting on Canva.
Man, you can't do it. And so people are locked in the past.
Fear
And
holds you
we're
back.
saying come to the future. Come to the future. It's time to come in the future, from being locked in the past. I don't know did I show you Brenda's book?
No, but
Her book cover?
actually, Santa wanted to know if Brenda wanted him to read her story out loud.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's good. I think that'll be good. That'll be great.
I'll connect you
I'm just
guys with
looking now
him.
here. Hold on one second. Look at this. And of course, this is it's changed from here, but it's even better than this one. I don't have the latest, but here, let me share my screen right quick. Which one of these is it?
If you got, ugh, it says share on the bottom.
I know I'm just trying to see which one.
Mm.
I
So
don't see it. Oh, here it is. I see it now. Okay, here it is.
Christmas Eve, we are doing a live.
Can you see
So
that?
many. I can see that.
So she's on her third book. She also made this into a coloring book.
That
So
is
that's my,
awesome.
that's me. And I'm taking Sienna on a whole adventure for her to learn about water. And
That
so
is
that's
so
me
cute.
taking her. We get in the car, we see a stream. I teach her about the stream, I teach her about the pond, I teach her about the lake, all the way to the ocean. And then we go to the ocean. But yeah, yeah. I mean, it really is. I mean, so she's on her third book, and the third book, guess what, is on kindness
Awesome.
and being kind. And so Sienna does kind acts throughout the day.
Love that. And yeah,
And it
so Sienna, when if she ever wants that link I sent you is a permanent link. We're gonna add one to the
Uh-huh.
radio show as well, but Sienna reads live stories every Wednesday.
Oh, really? So when she finalizes the book, she has Brenda has a website, Brunella World, and so on her website, so she's creating a children's book series where they learn different things. And this one on kindness is really amazing because Sienna leaves the house in the morning, and the whole day at school and different things that she's doing is about kindness
I love that.
and doing kind acts. And so, but yeah, and it has teaching moments throughout the book. When you're kind, this happens. When you do the so, yeah, I think we're about done here. But we talked a little bit about travel, but I think
But
I
being
know
kind
that
and
what
all
we've
these
talked
other
about,
mindsets go into travel.
they do.
You have to overcome that fear to take that step to get on that plane. It's okay. It's not gonna be as bad as you think it is. Your mind always
That's true.
imagines the worst case scenario to protect yourself because of the fear of the unknown.
Hmm.
And the more you travel, the more the unknown becomes known.
I know. I was thinking about what I was saying. Being in crowds. Hey, we've got to see travel for the veterans. You know, is it will calm you down. Travel has calmed me down.
It does. It gives you a sense of adventure without adventure. And only
It
the
gives me
military does that make sense.
it gives me a sense of adventure without going through the SEAL training experience. And to be able to do it with people that you want. I mean, as veterans, if you are out there, and you say, okay, I'm going to put together a travel club where we can get some people together and several times throughout the year go different places. Surge is the perfect tool to do that.
Mhm.
Surge is a perfect tool. That's why some of the clubs that you're a part of, that's the message for them. Hey, put together a travel club. You guys need to go on trips. You need to go, even if it's a staycation, you need to, stay at a resort, get a Airbnb, a villa or something that you guys can come together and experience each other and relate and laugh and have fun. And, you know, you want drink or beer or whatever it is you want to do, non-alcoholic, pull people together that are like-minded, but have a shared experience. Ooh, that's good. That are like-minded and have a shared experience. And boy, that's why you're number one in Surge 365
Hmm.
because you have access to the veterans. Oh, by the way, I'm going to send you some information on a AI retina scanner company that we're partnered with that has retina machines. You sit down and it takes a look at your eyes and determines a whole bunch of different things. And then they have a huge contract with Quest Diagnostics, and they're getting ready to go into Walmart. And they want to take a look and see how we could offer something to the veterans.
There's
So
something similar to that, my kid's eye doctor has that. So you no longer have to put the eye drops in to test all the pressures and all that stuff. Actually,
and so this takes it to disease.
yeah,
I mean, this is like a whole I'm gonna send you the information on it,
there's something similar
and
that
see if we
we do. Maybe it's the same thing. I'm not quite sure. It's new cutting edge. They just got it. And so we took David to the eye doctor to get his eyes checked for the first time. He just took pictures of his eyes. It was really cool. You just lean
so he
in
sat
and
down in the chair
sat down in the
sit down in
chair,
the
put his
chair,
face next to the thing, and
and so
done in like 2 minutes.
we so we're able to offer that 2 locations,
Oh, that's awesome.
and you're able to offer that 2 locations and receive income, and so I'll send you a package on it, and then you
Yeah.
can take a look at it
Because
and
if it's the
see.
same thing we just did with the kids with the eye
So
doctor.
you're at the beginning of this to be able to offer that as a technology, and I'll send you the package where you can look at it, and being at the beginning of implementing a technology is a good thing.
It's a game changer for, kids with autism and getting their eyes checked and getting, all the things done without all the drops, all the burning, all the poking and the prodding at a whole new level.
When I'm setting up a time to talk to the inventors and the team, I'll include you in that,
Perfect, yes,
okay? Because I wanna sit down and hear the whole thing, and I'll make sure that you're included in that with myself.
because,
Alright?
any eye doctor would love to have that if it's, it's a game changer for kids with autism.
Wow, wow. What you say for physical autism?
Just autism in general, kids that don't like
What did you just say, though? You say it's a game changer for
any kid with
did you say
autism, any kid.
or you said any kid with autism? Okay, I thought you said physical autism. Wow, wow.
Because,
That's good.
the hardest thing is eye drops and having to force them in there. Plus, putting your face in all the different things and, the nonverbal kids trying to figure out, their eyesight and looking at shapes or numbers, letters.
Hey, send me an email with what you just said, and and I'm gonna make sure that they know you are are actually able to lead this as even an effort,
Yes. A whole marketing area.
because of real time and who you're dealing with and knowing real time what the problem is. And because they actually came on as partners to Strategic Partner Group. The companies that are coming on now are coming on because of what we're saying, the mission, not please. I need money. I need money. No, they're coming on because we're alive. It's an entity now but send me what you were just saying and we'll make sure that they understand that that's another we'll bring it we'll do it. I'm going to set up I'll set up an appointment for them to explain to me even and then whatever your schedule's like let me know any heart where I can't do it and but I'm going to send them an email. In fact, I was going to send them a text today to schedule an appointment, but I'll let them know also that we'll have an autism expert and whatever title you want to have and I'll say that you're going to be also on the call and that you can share what you'll be sharing with me and to take it to that next level. Ooh. Hey, that's alignment. That's not putting ourselves in something because of whatever title, because of whatever,
No,
thing
and like you
pushing
just
us.
said, whatever title it is, because I don't use my title.
Yeah. 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 It's alignment. Now, titles have a place,
Mhm.
but when his title is not backed by something, then it's just fluff. But you have a good title because that signifies that you have a company, a business, an authority that you have acquired over years to get that respect of your title.
8 years next week.
Wow. So when we're saying Mary has a title, that's different than I just got into this and I need you to respect me.
Mm. No, and the thing
You run
is,
you run into those people every day that you have to put in their place.
I've known you for 5 years now.
Wow. I remember you called me up, "Hey, coach,
Jiminy Cricket.
give me a cricket." Hey, we'll see you. Send me that information and I'll set something up.
All right, yeah, I'll do that
'Cause you know
within another hour or so.
you're destined for multiple millions. You're destined for multiple millions. And it's not even the money, but to be able to help people.
Nope, that means
All
that
right.
I get to build my resource centers.